Welcome to this explainer, everyone. Okay, let's just dive right into it. Today, we're exploring the hidden depths of the towing industry. Now, be honest, most of us only ever think about tow trucks when we're completely stranded on the side of the road, right? In that absolute moment of panic, we just want our broken down car to magically disappear and teleport straight to the mechanic. We make a quick call, the truck arrives, and our car goes away. But that experience, well, that is literally just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the surface is this massive, highly regulated world of complex logistics, surprising costs, and high-stakes safety operations that you absolutely need to know about before you ever have to make that phone call. So, here's our game plan for today. First up, the anatomy of a tow. Then, breaking down the costs, followed by the rules of the road. After that, we'll look at high-stakes safety operations, and finally, choosing the right operator. All right, let's jump into Section 1, the anatomy of a tow, the breakdown. Let's set the scene for a moment. Picture this. You're stranded on the busy Monash Freeway right in the middle of peak hour traffic in Melbourne. Cars are just flying past you at 100 kilometers an hour. Your heart is pounding. It's a sudden, frustrating, and honestly, it's a terrifying moment. The very first question racing through your mind isn't just, when will help arrive, but how do I get out of this safely? You pull out your phone and dial for help. Easy, right? Well, here's the thing you really need to understand. What feels like a simple phone call on your end actually triggers a highly complex, heavily regulated, and physically dangerous operation. You aren't just calling a buddy with a truck. You are kicking off a precise, high-stakes logistical extraction. And this is exactly why knowing your vehicle type is so incredibly important. When you make that call, you need to know what kind of truck to ask for. There are three main types. The flatbed, which has that long chassis and a deck on the back, is your go-to for most standard cars and SUVs. Then you've got the hook and chain, mainly used for lighter vehicles or motorcycles. And finally, the wheel lift, which literally grabs the wheels of your car and hoists it up. Super common for 4WDs or heavy bikes. If you accidentally order the wrong equipment, it can be seriously dangerous for your car and other drivers on the road, not to mention it might end up costing you a whole lot more. Which brings us perfectly to Section 2, breaking down the costs, the wallet. Let's talk about the financial side of this iceberg. Pricing is actually highly regulated by the government, and it varies wildly depending on your state. Take these accident towing base rates, for example. In Victoria's controlled area, you're looking at about $417 for just the first 8 kilometers. Meanwhile, up in Queensland, it's roughly $369 for the first 50 kilometers, and New South Wales sits at a $246 base rate. Distance is hands down the biggest factor in your final bill. In Victoria, once you pass that initial 8-kilometer mark, it's an extra $6.57 for every single additional kilometer. But wait, here is a number that catches so many people completely off guard. $47.25. What's that? That is the regulated daily fee just to store your car undercover in Melbourne. If you don't claim your car quickly, these daily storage fees snowball incredibly fast. In a lot of cases, they can actually outpace the original cost of the tow. Seriously, if you leave your car unclaimed for 14 days, your release costs can potentially shoot past $1,400. And timing is everything. Say you break down at night, maybe on a weekend or during a public holiday in Victoria. Well, watch out for the $142.35 after-hours surcharge. Because breakdowns don't exactly follow convenient 9-to-5 schedules, the industry pricing reflects the urgency and sheer inconvenience of a 2 a.m. call-out. Moving on to Section 3, Rules of the Road, Government Regulations. So why are these costs structured this way in the first place? It really comes down to strict rules. The absolute most crucial thing is knowing who you are actually handing your keys to. In Victoria, tow truck licensing works totally differently than standard driving licenses. They're tied to the vehicle itself, and they are not cheap. A licensed operator will always display distinctive tow or HTT number plates. Seeing those plates means they are fully insured, heavily trained, and playing by the regulated pricing rules. On the flip side, an unlicensed operator might offer you a seemingly cheaper, under-the-table deal. But they don't have the legal plates. They usually lack proper insurance. And here is the real kicker. Using an unlicensed scam operator can actually void your own vehicle's insurance if something goes wrong. That cheap tow could literally cost you your entire car. No thank you. All right, Section 4, High-Stakes Safety Operations, the Danger Zone. We need to shift gears for a second here, because the physical reality of towing is incredibly hazardous. Have you ever heard of an SWMS? It stands for Safe Work Method Statement. This is a mandatory safety document used across Australia for high-risk work. Loading a broken-down car isn't just slapping a chain on a bumper. It is a highly documented life-or-death procedure. Every single operator has to follow these protocols because the risk of a fatality out there on the shoulder of the road is tragically high. These daily dangers are no joke. 35% of major risks come from load instability alone. We're talking about the terrifying risk of a multi-ton vehicle suddenly rolling backward off a tilted tray and crushing the operator. Then you have traffic hazards making up 30%. Think about all those inattentive drivers flying past the work zone. Add in hydraulic failures and winch recoil, and you really start to see why this job requires absolute laser-like focus.
And here's a totally invisible, shocking danger. Tilt tray trucks rely on hydraulics to lift several tons of weight. If there is even a tiny, pinhole leak in one of those heavy-duty hoses, high-pressure fluid can spray out at over 3,000 psi. That is enough pressure to cause severe injection injuries right through a person's skin. The equipment itself demands massive respect.
To manage all this chaos, operators follow a strictly ordered sequence. It always starts with a site assessment, checking ground stability, because a slight slope can literally cause the whole truck to roll over. Next comes managing the live traffic, followed by careful winching and applying initial restraints so the car doesn't slide backward. Only after all that is the tray slowly raised and the final restraints applied. If any of these steps are done out of order, the results can be an absolute disaster. And once your car is actually on the truck, the physics get even wilder. According to the National Transport Commission's Load Restraint Guide, the vehicle has to be strapped down to withstand massive gravitational forces. We are talking 0.8 Gs of forward force. To put that in perspective, if a 5,000-kilogram vehicle is sitting on the back, the front chains have to withstand 4,000 kilograms of force if the truck has to suddenly hit the brakes. This isn't guesswork, folks. It is pure physics and engineering. Let's bring it home with Section 5. Choosing the right operator, the takeaway. With all of these steep costs and extreme dangers, how do you actually navigate this industry as a consumer? Well, you want to look for established excellence. For example, let's look at Elite 24/7 Towing in Geelong. They recently earned the 2026 Quality Business Award by hitting an incredibly impressive quality score of 95% or higher. That puts them right in the top 1% of Australian businesses. This is the exact level of reliability you should be aiming for when you're stuck out on the side of the road. Using Elite 24/7 Towing as a quick case study here, they've been operating since 2009. They offer a 30-minute or less ETA, they use fully insured and licensed drivers, and they guarantee zero hidden fees. Choosing an established business like this mitigates all the extreme safety and financial risks we've just been talking about. They handle the complex SWMS procedures and all that high-pressure hydraulic maintenance, so you don't have to worry about a single thing. So, I want to leave you with a definitive checklist. Next time you're in a pinch, before you ever let a truck hook up to your vehicle, ask these 4 questions. Number 1, what equipment do you have for my specific car? Number 2, can I get a detailed itemized quote before you start? Number 3, what is your exact ETA? And number 4, are your drivers fully licensed and accredited? Trust me, legitimate operators will be more than happy to answer these for you. We've looked at the massive logistical puzzle, the strict government pricing, and the intense life-or-death safety protocols that go into action every single time a tow truck is dispatched. It really is so much more than just a truck and a chain. So I'll leave you with this final thought today. Knowing all the hidden costs and the extreme dangers of the road, are you truly prepared for your next breakdown? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, stay safe out there on the roads.